the 19th East African Safari, as seen through the fisheye lens of East African Motorsports Club filmman Dick Champions. Not all the preparation for the safari consists of poking about inside motor cars and generally trying to tart them up for the event. Much of the preparation takes place at City Hall and nearby, where others are preparing something else of interest, nothing to do with the safari. Here at the start, it's a matter of putting up flags, putting up banners, putting up advertising, looking at the weather, sometimes cloudy, sometimes not so cloudy. Will it be wet? Will it be dry? A lot of painting to be done too. It's the old rule at the start of the East African Safari. If it moves, you say good morning. If it doesn't, you paint it. One of the biggest crowds ever witnessed gathered for this, the 19th East African Safari, at the start in St. Ellis Avenue. There were other things to look at too. The presidential escort preceding His Excellency Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, who has once again graced the East African Safari with his presence, and who was to start not only the first car, but something like 20 cars. Here he is greeted by Eric Cecil. Yes, it's a heyday for the film men and the press men, and the girls get in the picture too. Overhead, a helicopter looking after the overseas press and cameramen's requirements. And now Mzee on the ramp, ready to start the first car, car number 1, driven by Anderson and Thorselius, the Porsche. On the dot of midday, and the first car leaves on this tremendously tough rally, the longest in the history of the event. Two minutes later, it's the turn of car number 2, the Datsun driven by Phillips and Naylor. Now we have one-time safari winners, Jock Hillier and Robin Aird, in car number 3, the Ford Escort twin cam. There go Blomqvist and Hertz, car number 4, the Saab. Two contenders in the Peugeot team, driving a 504, Hugh Leone and Philip Heckel. And here we have car number 6, the Elliott-Smith combination, the first of the BMWs. Also that hairy combination of Gerish and Simonian in the first of the 240Zs to leave the ramp. This, as it was then, unknown contender in the Safari. So too was car number 11, the Hermann Schuller car, another 240Z. Number 16, the Range Rover of John Sprinsel and Benson, which was to come to grief so sadly later on. And I suppose we could say 3 cheers for the Lollipop Special, Junior Preston and Bev Smith, number 17. Shekameta and Mike Doughty. Mike may be a good navigator, but he doesn't know his left from his right. Lofty Drews and Munyari in the Lancia Fulvia, number 32. And here on the ramp, another Porsche, number 33, Valdegard and Helmer. Next comes the Datsun, number 35, driven by Sidbran Shaw. Another Marshall's entry, Roger Harris and Austin, car number 43 of 504. Well, it might have been restricted, and let's face it, have VW will travel. Certainly there was no parking after they left the ramp. Number 68, Sospita Munyagera from Uganda. He was one of the African drivers to finish some couple or 3 years ago. Car number 70, Ken Ranyard, and a spot of rain. Now let's take a look at the route very quickly. The southern leg first. Into Mombasa. And from Mombasa, through a tortuous route to Dar. And then back to Nairobi. Not as easy as it looked on the map. Herman leads the local challenge, cries the Daily Nation in the thought tree. Now we see the line-up with the 240Zs out in front there, certainly in Parc Ferme, if nowhere else, prior to the second leg. Nairobi controllers hard at work, the helicopter overhead, and more publicity worldwide. There's H. Genevieve, who was on the ramp reporting for the crowd locally. A last-minute chat between crews and servicing crews and drivers, and maybe a last-minute chat with the press as well before the start of the second leg. Here comes the 240Z, number 11, Edgar Herman and Hans Schuller's car up onto the ramp, ready for the northern leg that takes the cars into Uganda. The Altonen and Easter 240Z up on the ramp, car number 12. Shekameta at the wheel, and Mike Doughty, the navigator. And believe it or not, Mike still doesn't know his left from his right. The The Porsche, still very much in the picture, the beginning of the second leg, driven by Chizada and Bien. Another Porsche very much in the picture, number 33, Uganda and Helmer. The Shankland and Bates combination. Tanzania to the fore with this one. The UK registered car of Jock Hillier and Robin Hillier and Jock Aird. Karlstrom and Hagbom were still going strong at this point in their Lancia Fulvia. That was for car number 1, the Andresen Borselius Porsche. And the Lollipop Special is still going strong. Here's the twin cam of Nicola and Palm, number 8. This is followed off the ramp by another twin cam, the Timo Mäkinen Henry Lydon entry, number 24. At the beginning of the second leg, the Lancias were still in the picture. 36 driven by Lampinen and Davenport. Giulione, driving with Philip Henkel. Another Marshall's entry. Car number 20 was driven by Trana and Andreasen. And the birds. Robin Elliott and Ivan Smith have nothing to do with the birds at the moment. They're busy driving car number 6. Another overseas entry there from Hall and Wood, driving in car number 18. The Sembi and Sembi combination there. After Roger Harris and Peter Austin in the Peugeot, Eric Cecil. Having a quick look at the proceedings. Mike Kirkland driving with Paolo Canelio. Did extremely well too, if I may say so. Now let's take a look at the cars going round the route on the northern leg, up to Kampala, and then round near the Ruwenzores and back to Kampala, before coming back round Mount Kenya to Nairobi. This is Uganda with Mike Doughty at the double. As it turned out, the rain clouds managed to blow away, and it was dust, dust, and more dust on this section. A couple of 100 miles after the Nakuru section was the time when radio listeners heard on-the-spot reports from Jerry Surley in the aeroplane, with the Datsun just underneath, about 50 feet below, travelling at 120 miles an hour, heading towards this particular point, the ramp, the finish, outside the City Hall in Nairobi. An even bigger crowd than we saw at the start of the safari was there at the finish. A record crowd, and a pretty good-natured one too. Sheikh Mehta and Mike Doughty, the first car on the road to get back to the finish in Nairobi. A very fine effort indeed for Sheikh Mehta and Mike Doughty, a very formidable team. Although first back overall on the road, not first overall on points. This honour was to go to car number 11, the Edgar Herman Hans Schuller entry. And here they are with a motorcycle escort. The outright winners of the 19th East African Safari, Edgar Herman and Hans Schuller. Another very fine performance that had the Sikh community going almost mad all round the City Hall was the arrival of Uganda and Tanzania in car number 30. Very, very popular finisher was car number 17, the Lollipop Special, driven by Junior Preston and Bev Smith. Bert Shankland arrives, holding up the Tanzania honours, accompanied by Chris Bates in the Peugeot number 15. After the Harris Austin Peugeot number 43, number 21, the Lancia. As it says, the East African Safari, the world's greatest rally. And the overall results, Herman and Schuller, Meta and Doughty, Shankland and Bates, Hillier and Aird, Quesada and Bien, Preston and Smith, Alton and Easter, Karlstrom and Hackbaum, Elliott and Smith, Booth and McConnell, the top 10. Here at the prize giving, after it's all over, the cars are washed, and so are the drivers. And of course, taking the honours, Edgar Herman, being the overall winner, and Hans Schuller, with the prizes being given away by Miss Margaret Kenyatta, the Mayor of Nairobi. And a very fine performance too. Shekameta, Mike Doughty, also receiving their honours from the Mayor. And it was very hard luck for the Peugeot boys that they were pipped to the post for the team prize, which went finally to the Datsun entry. And the club team entry went to the East African Motorsports Club team. Truly a memorable 19th East African Safari.